What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Allagash Brewing Company, and they're out of Portland, Maine, and this is their Curieux. So they're calling this one a Belgian-style golden ale aged in bourbon barrels. It comes in at 10.2% alcohol by volume, 27 IBUs at the time of review. This bottle is just over 9 months old. So recently I reviewed Allagash's Haunted House, and in that review I said I need to review more Allagash beers because, in my opinion, they are a world-class brewery, especially when it comes to Belgian-inspired and Belgian-brewed beers. Certainly here in the U.S., they're one of the best breweries, I feel, especially, again, when it comes to Belgian-style beers. And I've only reviewed like 3 or 4 from them, so I need to fix that, and I'm keeping my word currently as we are reviewing this one. So full disclosure, I've had this one before. I had it back when it came in the big... Ooh, that sound there. The big 750 milliliter bottles, corked and caged. I had it on tap before, and I also had it in this bottle. So anyway, let's give it a pour, and we'll talk a little bit about what this beer is. This is basically their Belgian Tripel, aged in bourbon barrels for up to 2 months, and then they blend that beer with a fresh batch of their Tripel. So this is basically like a blended barrel-aged beer. So anyway, that has crazy carbonation. This does have a etching in the bottom to promote the carbonation, but that is insane. Has a lot of fine particulates in there. Has this really nice golden color to it, hence being a golden ale. Belgian Tripel, yeah, definitely looks and plays the part. Has just under a finger of a bright white, kind of soap sudsy, slightly creamy looking head. Yeah, that looks crazy. Let's get a nose. All right, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is skunky somehow. Definitely has a big skunky kind of, like this was sitting in the sun or something. And the bottle shop I got it from, it was on the shelf, but it was like behind everything. I always grab like the beer behind, just in case it's been on the shelf for a while, or preferably out of a 4-pack. But as I swirl it up and as it opens up, that skunkiness is kind of going to the wayside, thankfully. Oh, and it's a beautiful thing. They actually have a little spiel here on there. I read it, so I'm not going to bullshit you. It says barrel-aged golden classic. And it says, aging our award-winning golden ale in bourbon barrels layers it with subtle notes of vanilla, caramel, and oak. I'm getting nice, like, fresh apple. Like there's an apple in here. Like a red apple. Like a red apple core, pear, white fruit. I'm getting a little bit of that barrel characteristic. Vanilla, yeah, oak, sure. You're not getting the actual spirit itself. It's more of just like the actual oaky part of it, you know, the actual barrel itself, as opposed to the spirit that used to be in there. It's a little bit of like a phenolic yeast kind of spiciness, like a clove, coriander, something like that. A little bit of caramel, almost getting like a caramel covered apple now. Touch of honey. Has a nice floral kind of... like a floral kind of honey character. It smells really good, especially as that skunkiness is kind of dissipated. And it's weird, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've had a skunky beer in a brown bottle. Usually it's in a clear or green bottle. But that has dissipated to almost nothing. I don't smell it anymore. Anyway, this smells really good, just like I remember it. Maybe a little bit more of that apple, a little bit more of that phenolic kind of yeast character kind of coming in the forefront. But yeah, I've never had it this old, I don't think. I don't think I've had it almost a year old. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Man, is that silky smooth in many ways. It's funny because I've said this before on my channel numerous times. I am not a lover of lighter colored Belgian beers. So Belgian Tripels, Belgian Golden Ales, Belgian Pale Ales, things of that nature. They're not, my jam is the Belgian Quads, the Belgian Strong Darks, the Belgian Doubles. That's what I enjoy, right? I just like those characteristics from those beers more. This, though, has always been one of the exceptions because I've always really enjoyed this beer, and man, is it tasty. But I think this is like lower side of full to like medium full. It's thicker than I remember it. It's not like, you know, you're chewing or anything, but man, does it have such a nice viscous kind of body to it at 10.2%. And I've drank so many 10 and 11% beers lately where I'm like, oh, it's higher side of medium, maybe lower side of full. This is firmly lower side of full, almost getting into that like medium full range, which is super welcome. The mouthfeel itself, it's like fluffy. It's smooth, it's creamy. It's not necessarily soft because there's a nice moderate carbonation, right? But it has, right after that moderate carbonation hits, it turns into this like smooth, fluffy, like cloud feeling, almost like a New England style IPA or something. It's just awesome. Body and mouthfeel are spectacular right from the rip. The taste, I'm getting a lot of like floral honey right at the tip of the tongue, which is kind of interesting. And then it turns into caramel and then apple. So it's almost like a caramel covered apple with like a little bit of a honey drizzle on top of it. Or maybe like a honey caramel covered apple. Never had something like that before, but that sounds delicious to me. Really cool and unique. There's a little bit of that, again, phenolic, like clovey, coriander kind of yeast sensation. Three-quarters of the way through the palate, I'm hit with that vanilla and that oak. There's a touch of a coconut kind of sensation too from the barrel itself. I'm not getting the spirit. It's only aged up to 2 months. Probably doesn't take on that much to begin with. And then, how wet are the barrels? But in addition to that, they're blending it with a fresh batch of the Tripel. So it's already a blended. This is like at the 50% maybe barrel aged at the most. I don't know how exactly the blend works, but it's not 100% barrel aged. 10.2%. I'm not even getting a warming in the chest right now. I feel it. Like I feel, okay, it's a little bit of a bigger beer, but man, there's nothing like more often than not, when I drink a 10% plus beer, I get some kind of warming in the chest. Sometimes my chest is on fire. Nothing right now. I feel it a little bit on the palate, but I think it's just a sensation of, man, this is a Belgian Tripel. It's barrel aged. You feel it. It's not astringent or anything. You just kind of know it's a bigger beer. This is a fucking fantastic beer. And here's the thing. This is a shelfy beer at this point. I can walk into my local Wegmans grocery store and just grab it off the shelf. Like, it's crazy. It's very complex. I mean, if I probably drank this one 3 months old, I'd get completely different characteristics. I don't remember like the caramel apple thing being as pronounced for me. I don't remember that coconut with the barrel. This has a really semi to full-on dry finish, but it's mildly bitter. This is not like overly sweet either. Has a great balance between that sweet malt character, the almost full-on dryness, and the mild bitterness. It's all working in harmony and just produces an extremely drinkable, fucking delicious beer. Holy shit, why haven't I reviewed this one yet? Like I said, I've had this one numerous times before in all different formats. I just never reviewed it. This might be one of the, here's the craziest shit. Here's the crazy, this will be probably a long review, I don't give a shit. Beer like this deserves it. I thought that first aroma, it being skunky, I was like, oh, don't tell me it's an off bottle. Don't tell me it was fucking hanging out in front of lights for the last 8 months or whatever. But once that dissipated, this has turned into probably the best batch of this I've had. Oh, what was that? A little bit of the pear I got in the nose is kind of there. Maybe even a touch of like a white grape. I don't know. This is probably the best batch of this I've had. Well, I have to rate it based on what I'm tasting and how much I'm enjoying this one. And hopefully you can tell that I'm loving this because this is fucking absolutely delicious. So Curieux from Allagash. That's going to get a low 4.75 out of 5 and go 4.7 out of 5. Got to do it. Got to be honest. This is fucking absolutely superb. Basically a world-class beer to me. Probably the best Belgian triple. Whether, you want to say it's barrel-aged, blended, whatever. Like, as far as like a Belgian Tripel or triple, however you want to say it, how it goes, this is my favorite. Hands down. Not, can't compare it probably to like classic, regular, non-barrel-aged ones, but just like if we're encompassing everything, this fucking beer. All day, every day. Price and availability. We'll go availability first. I don't really know with Allagash. We see a decent amount of their stuff here. We get a lot of their regular offerings. We get some, rotating beers. We get some of their seasonals. We'll see some of their specialty releases. It's hit or miss though. This beer itself, is, like I said, a shelfie at this point. You can walk in to almost any grocery store in the Western New York area, or any Wegmans grocery store, any bottle shop, and if they carry Allagash, they probably have this one on the shelves. Price point, believe I paid like $4.59 for that bottle. I think 4-packs were $18, $17.99 in my neck of the woods. Maybe it's a couple bucks cheaper where you are, maybe it's a couple bucks more, but I would have no problem paying like upwards of $6 or $7 for this bottle. The quality, how much I enjoy it without question, the fact that I got it for $4.59 all day, every day. I'm almost contemplating next time I see a fresh release of this, like under 3 months old, I might grab a 4-pack, throw 3 in the cellar, drink that one fresh, and maybe even re-review it to see how like an actual fresh one tastes in comparison. Like I kind of know what it tastes like, but I don't know exactly because the fresh ones I've had are many years ago. You're talking like 4, 5, 6 years ago. I think the first time I had this one was like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. It was definitely in the mid 2010s. But yeah, this is fucking delicious. If you've had this beer before, whether it was the old school 750 cork and cage, whether it was on tap, a bottle like this, let me know what you think about it. I need to grab more Allagash. I will grab more Allagash, and I appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.